Well, welcome race fans back to the Ukrainian Racing League and for the season finale of the Formula Ford Championship. All the championship connotations so far have culminated in this, our final race of the season. It's great to have everybody with us. If you're watching with us for the first time or you're a regular, please do participate in today's live broadcast. My name is Weboo. I'm very pleased to be here with you all, and we'll be getting into the details of what is going down today at Fuji International Speedway in the shadow of the famous Mount Fuji, of course, in Japan. Scene of a great number of international races and historic moments throughout the course of the several decades here of motorsport action, and hopefully we can write our own little chapter in that great annal of history today here with the Ukrainian Racing League's F4 divisional final. This is qualifying at the moment, qualifying in preparation for a sprint race followed by a feature race. We have Augusto Fontes, who was just momentarily on screen, and then the striking colours of Scott Edwards in the 444 getting his time ready, and you can see just how long the famous start-finish straight is here at Fuji. There's plenty of time to think about your race and all your regrets in life before you try and find a breaking point down into turn one, Daiichi corner, which Kyra Krasenberg, a big favourite among our viewing audience, Kyra is still chasing that elusive, fantastic, flawless race and race victory this season, but she is improving bit by bit and is certainly a very, very driven racer. The 117 then racing out of the Netherlands, Kyra Krasenberg, as she rounds the affectionately called hairpin. It's turn 6, and then you've got a sequence of long and usually speed limited corners of turns 8 and 9, the 300R, down into turn 10, which is the Dunlop chicane. Turn 10, 11 and 12, we take the bypass route there as Vyacheslav Kolod is currently working the wheel in his split livery, blue and yellow one side and red on the other, as he tries to uphold national pride here today. We have a limited number, unfortunately, of our Ukrainian drivers taking part, but he is certainly going to do his level best here to represent the great nation of Ukraine. And of course, Ukraine gets all of our support here on the channel all the time. Out of the Panasonic final corner comes Vyacheslav Kolov, and he is heading then towards that start-finish line. Gogo Danko with the fastest lap so far of 42.3. Kyra Krasenberg 43.5. As Kolod crosses the line and he gets himself a 45.7, a safe banker to start, and doesn't want to tear up those ties. It's very close between Victor Falcon, who has just joined us, and Kyra Krasenberg in P4. So far this season, we have had 26 different point-scoring drivers throughout the course of our just 5 races prior to this one. And here we are in the race 6 finale for this racing season. Augusto Fontes favouring the Ayrton Senna McLaren livery from a couple years ago. There you can see as well. And then Brandon Devine, who has updated his livery a little bit, I think, this time round with the black, white and red streaks. Brandon Devine, the 57, currently second place, for just half a second off Gogo Danko's ultimate pace there. Danko, the Hungarian racer. We have this wonderfully international grid. We obviously have a very friendly worldwide race time to get going. The 444 then, Scott Edwards will log a time of a 44.7. That represents, I think, something to build on for Scott Edwards, as his livery just flashes in and out for us slightly there, but his wheel rims remain in his lime green colour scheme. Round Daiichi corner, and it's great to see the track map on the top of the screen as well. You can track where our drivers are at this current time. Purple sectors for Gergo Danko currently. In P1, the number 6 is Vitor Falcon there in the Sauber livery today in the green and black. Then number 7 Vito Falcon. We've had a driver just spin out of the Panasonic corner, just trying to gun the throttle just that little bit too much. Giovanni Carvalho, racing out of Brazil, another Brazilian driver about to log his first time. We've only had 7 fast laps to this point. I think he's actually just starting, so we may not even have managed to register a time earlier on. Big dab of opposite lock there, the number 19, just struggling his way through the through the Daiichi turn 1 as he heads into Coca-Cola. You can usually ride the curb on the way in, but beware the bollard on the apex. It's a very tall bollard in iRacing, so there's no excuses for hitting it, and it does help you pinpoint the apex of the corner as you're pointing uphill and they go in towards that hairpin corner. There is Brandon Devine, the 57, currently second, as we said before, half a second off the outright pace as Scott Edwards goes to cross the line. I think we're going to see some good slipstreaming action down this straightaway, certainly for the first few laps, and we will have ourselves a bit of a slipstream train in the first opening portions of our 2 racing laps. We have Vyacheslav Kolod has put in a P8 time, which is 3.3 seconds off the ultimate pace, and you can see here Scott Edwards has his mirrors full, and I think we'll be rather pleased if the driver behind him does pass. And there he goes by, as Gergo Danko has just put in another fastest lap, then a second provisional pole, stretching away from Brandon Devine on a 0.6 of a second away from the ultimate pace. Is Brandon. 142.293 is what we have on the racetrack. We've got Vitor Falcon almost going in towards the pit lane there to get out of the way of his other drivers. Roman Sorokivski is going across the line. Will he be able to register a time of 45.5? So it does appear like our Ukrainian drivers are not particularly well prepared. I'm wondering if there's a problem there with their engineers this time round, because currently sitting 8th, 9th and 10th in our provisional standings here on qualifying, which just has 2 minutes left to run. This is a long racetrack, so we are going to see large gaps between the drivers, as Kyra Krasenberg staying in 6th place. I think that previous lap didn't manage to register a better lap or a complete lap perhaps, on board with Scott Edwards, as we should be picking up a distant tow. I know the car in front looks a long way away, but these are downforce cars. This is a long straightaway, and so hopefully he will be able to pick up a little bit of slipstream there. Scott Edwards into 4th place, 1 second clear of the ultimate fastest lap there. The Cielo sponsored Kick Sauber Stake F1 car livery of Vitor Falcon here in the P7. There'll be no missing him or Brandon Devine on the track today, very much standing out in what are generally quite muted iRacing colours. And then you can see Mount Fuji in the background there as we head in towards that final sector. We're just coming out of Panasonic, underneath, just passing the Bridgestone structure on the left, and then we are pedal to the metal to the end of this this straightaway and down into the braking zone. Falcon there, he does set a new time, but it's not quicker. Here is Roman Sorokivski, currently 9th out of 10 drivers who have registered times. Somewhat depleted field it seems for this season finale, but we are deep into December, and with the drop score situation in our championship, it does mean that several drivers have taken the opportunity to skip out. Augusto Fontes, a very different looking livery, you have to say, from the cockpit here. Augusto Fontes in the number 1 car, he is just shy of 0.4 of a second away from pole position man Gergo Danko. Unfortunately, though, I think that lap will have been disallowed anyway as he skips over. The checkered flag has flown. Gergo Danko takes the pole position there of 42.293 ahead of Fontes, Devine, Edwards, Carvalho and Krasenberg, the top 6. So lots to build on for the race today. Hope you're seated comfortably. The sprint race of 20 minutes will begin momentarily. So please get yourself comfortable very quickly, as the cars will start to grid up and get themselves ready. You can see the podium awaiting our drivers' celebrations later on. Pavlo Kishkan might be joining us here, as will Charles Wimbley and Richard Lucas have registered to take part in the race outside of qualifying or during qualifying, and will start at the back of our sprint race, it would seem. So we will hopefully be able to welcome some more drivers into the fray here. So good to flesh out the grid a little bit, and there is our pace car getting ready to get the drivers underway for us. So the heat will begin momentarily, the 20-minute sprint race. A reminder that we do have safety car rulings. If we have a multi-car pileup, that's more than two, we may well see the pace car bring the field back together again. But most of the time, accidents are ruled to be racing incidents and are investigated post-race. So we shall see how things are going to get underway for us very soon. Gogo Danko then the pole position with Augusto Fontes making his debut here with us in the championship, straight up into second place as we get ready then for this race start. We will just warm the tyres and round the final sector here. Just a few corners to get the cars ready and up to temperature. There's not a lot in iRacing to get the cars ready. You can see Gogo Danko already putting a little bit of slip into the wheel angles there. Got to be so careful. You want to scrub the tyre, but the last thing you want to do on a short formation portion here is to spin the car up. So lots of first gear burnouts and slamming on the brakes, messing with the brake balance as well if you dare, just to generate rim temperature on the tire, on the wheels, and try and heat up the tire surface, because it's going to be a long drag down the start finish line and then a very crucial braking zone here into Daiichi corner. One of the slowest corners on the track from one of the highest speed sections. Of course, you'll be an absolute VMAX. Safety car then, our iRacing pace car Porsche will be heading in towards pit lane momentarily, and we get underway then for Gogo Danko, Fontes, Devine, Edwards, Krassenberg and Falcon all ready then to get underway, and they are 2 by 2 and they're ready for the green flag. So can't wait to see how this sprint race unfolds. The drivers are all ready to go. We're waiting on that start procedure, but it is the final sprint race of the season. A final chance to grab those all-important points, and that is Krassenberg hitting the loud pedal very early. I think before the green light has been given. Here we go. 5 red lights. It's a massive jump start from Krassenberg, and it's dropped the clutch, and it's go. Gogo Danko is defending hard down the inside, and there comes Augusto Fontes already trying to claim the inside line on the way down into the corner. I'm hoping no one is going bowling. It looks like from at least the first half of the field, everybody is making their way through, and it looks like Kyra Krassenberg has voluntarily put herself all the way back into P10 then as a result of that false start. I think just mistaking where the start line was and the start procedure. A couple of drivers running very wide. They may pick up some warnings as a result going through the Coca-Cola turn 3 exit, and as they round the 100 meter radius right-hander, it is Danko, Fontes, Devine, Kishkin, Edwards and Wimbley, your top 6, with Volkan, Sorakivsky, Collard, Krassenberg, Lucas and Carvalho, the standings as they run. Here is Kyra Krassenberg. She's out of position at this time, as you can imagine, as she goes deep into Dunlop chicane. That was a great overtake round the outside, which claims the inside line for the following switchback section of that Dunlop chicane, and Kyra Krassenberg making up one more place back up to P9 as Fontes is unable really to get quite the performance out of his McLaren liveried car. He's got a Racing Bulls in front of him, and he's got Brandon Devine in the original livery there in the black, white and red directly behind. And here is going to be our first look at a slipstream run down the famous long straightaway here at Fuji International Speedway. I can see Fontes already getting a little bit hooked up there. We're not even at the start finish line. There it is, and look at the slipstream possibilities. There's a lot of weaving going on in the background. I can see Scott Edwards looking very active. Gogo Danko is later on the brakes at the first phase, and down the inside goes Fontes. Can he hold on here? Gogo Danko trying to hang on to the inside lane, and they're going to crash. And that is Danko having his lane cut off from him, I think, as they were both full power. That is our brand new driver, Augusto Fontes, just trying to close the door a little bit too vociferously, and he's actually suffered huge rear wing damage as a result. Into the barrier, suspension damage. I think Gogo Danko survived unscathed, but has dropped down to third position. Absolutely incredible start to lap 2 here in the sprint race. I think that will be Fontes under investigation and probably unable to participate in much of the rest of the sprint session. But Brandon Devine will take that all day long as he screams into first position. He's got Pavlo Kishkin, who's moved his way all the way up from the back of the grid into second place, and Gogo Danko, who I think, it had the look of a pit maneuver almost from Gogo Danko, but it wasn't that way. I think that we had Fontes making contact with his front wing. Hopefully we'll get close up to Danko's front wings shortly, because it may be that he's got some damage. And there you can see Scott Edwards fighting hard with Vulcan there in the green Sauber livery. And center screen, Gogo Danko versus Kyra Krasenberg, who is well, I'm guessing that's Kyra Krasenberg. No, it's Wembley who's made his way up. He's sharing liveries there with Kyra Krasenberg, just causing me a little bit of confusion. But side by side, wheels locked, and another touch between them. It's a very wide racetrack. There's no need for that here. But Danko then trying to, he's on the other side of the track to where he was last race. You can still see the track mark, the wheel marks in the grass there. But that is a lot more of a conventional defence coming from Wembley, who has his hands full. Gogo Danko with the outright pace in qualifying, of course, and he's on the humpback for some points here. Unfortunately, that is not how he wanted to run today, but he gets tucked up underneath. Unfortunately, it looks like Wembley is just holding that right-hand side of the track, which, because it's a clockwise circuit, will always eventuate as being the faster way around the track. Down on the middle of the lane, but I think he's outbraked himself slightly, Wembley. He's desperately clinging on to this third position, but meanwhile the front two, Devine and Kishkin, are stretching the lead out to nearly 4 seconds, and it's costing Danko multiple seconds being stuck here at the moment, as Devine has his mirrors full of Pavlo Kishkin, who is running out wide on the way out of that Daiichi corner and in towards Coca-Cola. Turn 3 as we approach it. My mistake, that is Panasonic. I'm just seeing number 1 coming through way down in the order. That's Fontes, who I think has gone into the pit lane, as has Carvalho. Our 2 Brazilians of the 3 have both had to pit already through the course of this race, and almost ducking up and almost colliding into Daiichi corner are Devine and Kishkin. They were separated by nothing as we go 3 wide. The identical liveries of Wembley, and is that Krasenberg who's moving herself forward, and she's up into P6 and screaming past Scott Edwards. Insane recovery so far from Kyra Krasenberg, whose consistency has been building and building throughout the course of this season, and running around behind Edwards is Dorokivki in the black and grey. There is Scott Edwards, though, in the red and lime green, with the 2 similar camo liveries of Wembley and Krasenberg fighting hard over 5th and 6th position. I don't believe that they are teammates. They have just happened to choose the same racing liveries today. Devine leads ahead of Kishkin by 0.3 of a second only, and here they are fighting hard through the Dunlop switchback chicane. Brandon Devine looking very good right now for the victory, but Kishkin is going to have a tremendous slipstream. Talk about slipstream, though. Can't wait to see these 5 hard and fantastic races go down that start-finish straight. Once again, there was a lot of jostling for position on the way through. This is a really difficult section of the track. The turn 13, 14 and 15, next corner 15, in towards then turn 16. The all-important exit out of Panasonic. Looks like Krassenberg got herself a better run out of that one, but because she got such a good run out of the final corner, she wasn't able to really use the slipstream. Looks like Divine has been giving up the slipstream to the car behind. Please don't brake directly behind again. Wow, they are absolutely on the limit. Fantastic to see. Gogo Danko is in third position, and at the moment Vulcan continues to lead. That's a bit of a late move down the inside there from Wembley, I think, who succeeds past Vulcan, but Vulcan had to yield at the corner point there. That looks like it's Krassenberg in 6th, Vulcan in 5th place, and Krassenberg will get a better exit. Perhaps she could have generated a little bit more speed on the exit at that corner. She was very narrow in comparison to Vulcan, who's kind of drifting left. Krassenberg then will pick up the inside line going into the hairpin corner. Can she get the power down? It's multiple lanes of traffic are available, but that really has cost Krassenberg then on the run through the 300R. And now she's on the defensive with Scott Edwards, the 444, lurking for that overtake opportunity. Looks like she has managed to hang on here right now, but she has not been able to make any moves, and there's a spin out of the very slow corners of Storakivsky, unfortunately. And then Krassenberg doing exactly the same thing as the hill and the camber of the track takes effect. She'll be fuming inside the helmet there. She was on a fantastic run. Gergo Danko is picking up the pace in the background of this battle. He may yet feature as part of our podium challenge, especially if Pavlo Kishkin can make Divine go offline and slow both of them here. Though this looks like a great slipstream, it looks like he's going to be at least alongside, if not just slightly in front. He will have to brake a little bit more carefully on the way into Daiichi corner, but a fantastic textbook overtake from Kishkin. Patience there as he runs through. Divine with a better run out of Daiichi because he had the natural racing line, but currently it looks like Kishkin has the lead and has the ability to position the car exactly where he wants to. Tucked on the inside at the moment, and he's just being careful here to hold that racing line, hold the most rubbered in section of the racetrack under these dry conditions. Of course, Divine just running a little bit wide in the dirty air. This is the first time really he's had to be the follower through these long corners. Of course, the G-forces would be absolutely enormous here at Fuji. I don't know if any of our drivers are using using motion rigs and G-force simulators, but Divine is just blinking out slightly. He got a fantastic run out of Dunlop. How on earth is that possible? He almost warped in front of Kishkin and straight back through. So he's got a really good run through the Dunlop chicane and into now the really slow third and final sector of the racetrack. Divine back in front. Now, sometimes we see that it's a little bit of lag between the cars. Oh, great to see some drivers battling over the minor positions. This is Collard and Lucas there. Lucas in the McDonald's red and white, red and yellow, and Collard in the split zip livery down the centre there. Collard getting back past, and he had an early moment in the race, costing him time. This could be an action replay of what happened on the previous lap there as Kishkin goes back past. Now, what can we do here? I think he might be trimmed out for less downforce. Divine just taking to the grass slightly, but thankfully the grass dry enough to allow that, and back past across the nose. He'll be hoping that the better grip he has in the corners, in the middle portion of the race and the final corner, will help him build a gap that is unassailable. But meanwhile, Gergo Danko, I think, might have had a slight off-track incident because he's dropped back to 5.8 seconds further back in P3. It was, I think, something like 3.8 earlier on. Charles Wembley's in 4th, with Falcon in 5th, Scott Edwards in 6th, Krassenberg in 7th, Collard in 8th, Lucas, Sorakivsky, Fontes and Carvalho making out our 12-car grid in this second half now of the sprint race. Commentators curse for Cairo, I'm being told in the live chat. Thank you for that. Yeah, my apologies to Cairo. Oh, that's a horrible way to go off track with those yellow curbstones here at Fuji, just discouraging the drivers. from going too wide. On the right-hander then, it through Panasonic, likewise on the exit. Sometimes you see certain categories of race cars go all the way over and wider still than those yellow curbs, and be allowed on track limits to do so. But of course it really doesn't pay any kind of benefit in these low slung, stiffly sprung Formula 4 cars. So it's Devine ahead of Kishkin, Danko out to 6 seconds further back, and for the first time then in a couple of laps, Devine is unchallenged into Daiichi corner as they come through. That's a personal best lap from Charles Wimbley, leading the midfield pack at the moment, and we watch Richard Lucas chasing down Vyashlev Kolod, and we wait to see if the slipstream takes effect. I think he is going to get a fantastic overspeed here. Yes, indeed. So he'll peel across to the right-hand side, and Collard focusing on keeping the racing line into the corner. Lucas just not particularly aggressive on the brakes there, taking quite a lot of curb. The car gets a little bit unsettled, but he just about holds onto it, as Collard will defend then on into the next left-hander, the Coca-Cola turn 3. And you can see the different lines taking effect then as Lucas tucks in very tightly. He's almost alongside as they go through 100R, but it's not quite enough. He's really all over the back of Vyashlev Golod, and I wonder if he can actually make an overtake heading down in towards the downhill heavy braking that we will see into Dunlop, the turn 10. And he's certainly shaping that way. Collard still has the tail ahead and is able to hold the line, as Lucas just taking a lot of apex again, just steals a little bit of his stability on the car on the way through. Richard Lucas then racing out of Haiti in the Caribbean, and it's good to see Richard Lucas. He's been debuting and learning the ropes on iRacing throughout the course of this season. Tucked up down the inside, and that was a beautiful line from Lucas. Really had the tyres, contact patch and everything hooked up beautifully through the Panasonic, but I think it might have just cost him a little bit too much, because now he can't make use of the slipstream on the way out. And actually it's Collard who seems to have the car trimmed out for top speed, so Lucas needing to stay within here. Fastest lap for Lucas, personal best anyway, on that lap, as he goes first one way then the other. Brandon Devine still leads Pavlo Kishkin. There goes Lucas down the inside, and he's been working so hard to get that overtake. He's just not carrying enough speed at the apex to maintain what he can do on the inside line there, but certainly that looks like it's Collard holding very firm to the inside line into the next into the left-handers at least. Brandon Devine leads by 1.3 seconds now from Kishkin, and some 5.7 seconds out from Gergo. Sorry, 7 seconds out from Gergo Danko. Scott Edwards is third. Kyra Krassenberg is in fifth position. Excuse me, Edwards is fourth. I'm tripping over a little bit right now as Lucas here gets that inside line once again, but he's a little bit earlier on the brake. Collard sweeping round from the outside to the inside. Surely now that will be a slower route through the corner for Collard. But he does just seem like he is a little bit more confident on those exits. He just knows where the track goes, knows the capabilities of his car. That time Lucas was a lot smoother out of the corner, but of course now he's on another compromised line through Panasonic, and he's again not stretching the outside edge of the circuit, so we'll have to try and tuck in here. That's a lot smarter from Lucas this time, and he should then regain any time lost. And now you can see a defensive move. This might be Lucas' chance to grab that left-hand side of the track. He does grab that better braking side of the track, so we'll see if he is brave enough on the brakes or can switch back there if we've got a better defense from Collard. Well, unfortunately it's neither here nor there, and actually Collard failing to leave enough space on the exit, but thankfully the drivers were not so tight on their limit as to cause a spin. And unfortunately Lucas just chucking it into turn 3 into Coca-Cola, and the rear end very much said no to Richard Lucas. So there ends the battle for the time being. Augusto Fontes has just set a purple time in 9th position after his, well, slightly embarrassing start to the race, and clearly has plenty of speed. He was P2 in qualifying, of course, until he and former race leader Gergo Danko and pole sitter came together. And he's had to action some significant repairs. Augusto Fontes has somehow or other managed to stay on the lead lap. I don't quite understand how that's possible with the amount of repairs he had to complete. But it's Brandon Devine with a personal best, 42.9, ahead of Pavlo Kishkin, who actually set a faster lap on that run. And there is the, well, momentarily we just saw this is the problem that befell Gergo Danko. This lost him 2 or 3 seconds earlier on in the race, unfortunately. And then we see Krassenberg over the bump, following Scott Edwards here. This is a replay. You can see her over the bumps for a moment, and then we'll just see if this was the incident that we saw earlier on, as that she got a good slipstream, and Scott Edwards is continuing to be in that 3rd position currently. A good amount of slipstream here from Krassenberg. Are we going to see an issue here? Down the inside we go from a long way back. That was a bit of a dive bomb, but holding firm and into 4th place now. So a really good overtake in the end from Krassenberg. Giovanni Carvalho for a moment there on screen as we cut back to Kishkin. And we'll just wait for everything to settle down a little bit. I'll stop calling drivers out. There is Gergo Danko in P3 and into the pit lane. I think that might have been Sorakivsky, possibly. Devine leading Pavlo Kishkin from Danko, Krassenberg and Scott Edwards as the race runs in towards its final green flag minute. This will be the white flag then for Brandon Devine. In fact, yes, that is the white flag. Sorry, I was getting there's a checkerboard pattern on the flag wavers section there. But so some drivers will end up who are at the back of the grid finishing up right now pretty soon. But Brandon Devine leading by 2.9 seconds. He has managed to stretch a really good lead out here. And it's great to see a new driver at the front of our championship, at the front of the races, the 57. He will get, we have a partially reversed grid, so he will get pushed back for the feature race, but he's clearly got pace, and he's been able to profit from others' mistakes and others' incidents. I wouldn't call what happened to Danko a mistake on his part, but at the moment, Brandon Devine, once he's got some clear air and a nice view in front, was able to hold off Kishkin for a little while, and then start to stretch away. So Devine, this will represent a fantastic run for him, and I think this will represent his best finish of the season so far. I'm just going to check on that one, but hopefully we will be able to build some additional points. Brandon Devine currently 5th in the championship, just 9 points away from Ilya Rakitin's 4th place. Eldar Nui and Kanto Jokweri have already secured 1st and 2nd places in the championship. But coming out of the final corner, down the start-finish line, underneath the flag, will be Brandon Devine, who will win our sprint race here at Fuji. Congratulations to him, racing out of the United States. Pavlo Kishkin crossing the line, a hard-fought debut here, and certainly very, very happy, I'm sure, to finish in P2. Then comes Gergo Danko. I imagine he's feeling a little bit fed up there to have lost the lead, and a great double comeback from Kyra Krassenberg, who had that huge jump start earlier on. Scott Edwards was beaten fairly in the end, but he comes home in 5th place, and he's 7th in the championship at the moment. That would be good championship points for him. Vyacheslav Kolod comes out of the final corner. Looking a little bit slow here. I wonder if he has run out of fuel and he's about to lose that position. Lucas, I think, is closing in rapidly and screaming on by. That looks like a fuel issue for Collard, or a mechanical failure of some sort. that means that Lucas will be our 6th place driver. And that will be very, very welcome for him and anybody tuning in from the SVR League who will be here to support Kyra and Scott Edwards and Richard Lucas, excuse me. Fontes will go into 7th place, and that's also representing a really, really good result for him. Zorakivsky crosses the line in 9th. We've had Fontes in 7th, Collard in 8th. Carvalho, Falcon and Wimbley. Now, I don't know what happened to Wimbley, but quite a lot it seems, because he was fighting at the head of the field earlier on. So that was a bit of a problem for Wimbley. Hopefully, we'll track that exactly during this warm-up period. We'll be able to see what happened to Wimbley, but we will take a couple of minutes to just rest up and give you a chance to grab a snack and get comfortable for the 40-minute feature race, which is coming up. The last bit of racing we will see here at Ukraine Racing League's F4 division for 2025. We'll be back very soon with commentary. Fantastic. Well, it's great to be back then, ready for the feature race. The top 10 have been reversed, meaning that Carvalho and Sorakivsky will share our front row start, although we are under a pace car for the start, for a rolling start. Kyra Krasenberg will perhaps will have organised herself and figured out the start, and that was very clumsy. In fact, let it go Scott Edwards' rear wing as well. I think we may need to be considering a restart because some innocent parties there picked up some damage. But we will see how that progresses. Out of the final corner come the cars. It looks like Carvalho and Sorakivsky did come together. They have recovered, but then Scott Edwards has lost his rear wing. And I believe that in the rear view mirrors here in the F4 cars, you can't tell that until you hit the brakes and try and turn into Daiichi corner. It is absolutely perilous for Scott Edwards then, his situation. Yeah, look out for Kyra Krasenberg not perhaps taking a jump start on the way through. There's a little bit of a gradual move forward there as the speed is building. Carvalho getting ready. I wonder if he's mistimed this run. The green flag isn't ready yet. The 5 red lights are on. And it's dropped the clutch, and it's go, go, go. Scott Edwards moving around. The drivers behind him will know exactly what's up as they brake heavily. The EcoSports team down into P1, into Daiichi corner. And I wonder what's going on with Scott Edwards right now, a little bit further back, because he has no rear wing. Well, he's not lost the car, thankfully. He's out there. It might help him in the top speed section of the racetrack, but he'll be furiously trying to figure out why his car suddenly feels completely different as Giovanni Carvalho leads ahead of Vyacheslav Korol and Sorakivsky just overtaken by Fontes, and Krasenberg dropping back as Sorakivsky and Kishkin are close together on the track, 4th and 5th positions as we speak, with Krasenberg in 6th, Danko, Wimbley, Falcon, Devine, Edwards with Lucas at the back, but it's nose to tail stuff then for you've got Fontes here, but on the comeback down into Dunlop chicane goes Fontes. He had an incident with Danko earlier on, and there goes that is Kishkin spinning in the background, I think. Possibly, yeah, it was Kishkin who was spinning out. It looks like there goes Gergo Danko with no rear wing as well. So something's happened to Gergo Danko, unless it happened at the same time. And round the corner, we're going to have another big issue there with the split livery Collard, who spins back down into the order. It is chaos here in this first racing lap as the wheels almost getting hooked up together. In the tail of the midfield, Charles Wimbley and Brandon Devine, who has not really made a great deal of progress here. Danko's bails to the pit lane as the car in front and behind of him who go into the pit lane. I'm not sure if that is Krasenberg who's gone into the pit as well. Yes, I think it is. As we can see Wimbley and Falcon. Wimbley on the inside, Falcon much slower on the brakes than Fontes leads from Charles Wimbley and Vitor Falcon, with Pavlo Kishkin, Vyacheslav Kolod and Richard Lucas, who was well about half a lap ago, is now into 6th place because he's managed to stay out of trouble. Charles Wimbley very wide, running through in the number 3. He's currently P2, and he's just set a fastest first sector of this second racing lap. We're going to take some stitching together of what happened during that formation lap and the opening lap there. Scott Edwards, Kyra Krasenberger currently in. Gogo Danko appears to be circulating without that rear wing. I would imagine that his lap time should be a lot slower as a result, but clearly he can regain quite a bit of speed down the start-finish straight, I would imagine, without that rear wing, but we shall see. Romo Soroskivsky in the 113 here, P9 at the moment, following the former pole position guy, Giovanni Carvalho, who had lost out during the course of the opening couple of laps here, losing pole, and is currently in 8th place. Romo Soroskivsky, we were just watching, here is Victor Falcon in the number 7, retaking the second place away from Charles Wimbley. Behind them you can see Kishkin on a bit of a recovery, but Wimbley with a good slipstream. Then it looks like the air starts to affect the car a little bit more, and the top speed seems to stall, but he does get sufficiently far ahead, so much so actually that Vitor Falcon can duck back in and get the slipstream as well, down into Daiichi corner. This is the downhill braking zone after an incredibly long straight, and actually the drivers have been very, very well behaved into Daiichi corner. It just seems to be the other parts of the track today that have been tripping them up slightly. Wimbley really grip limited on the exit of Coca-Cola turn 3, but staying legal on the track there, stealing a little bit of apex as well. He's really in a good rhythm, is Wimbley, I have to say, right now, as he comes through the left-hander, the hairpin, and he's got Vitor Falcon, the bright green nose of the Kicksauber liveried F4 car here, and that will be quite a threatening and looming colour in the mirrors of Charles Wimbley. He did get away from him earlier on in the course of today's broadcast. We've got Fontes leading by 5.5 seconds. I don't know what Gogo Danko has to do to buy some good luck today, but Fontes, here he is in that Brazilian Senna McLaren livery. There, I imagine one of Fontes' heroes. It is a religion in Brazil motorsport to worship Senna. As he leads the race then by 5.6 seconds and has the racing track pretty much all to himself. Further back, we've got Wimbley, Falcon, Kishkin and Lucas, all who have not pitted. Gogo Danko, I believe, has been in the pits, may have even had a rapid repair to that rear wing. We'll catch up with him very soon, I'm sure. Giovanni Carvalho in 7th, Soroskivsky in 8th. There is Danko with a rear wing, so thankfully, and he's putting in a purple middle sector of the racetrack as well, so he's obviously got the bit between his teeth. There wasn't really enough time in the sprint race for him to recover. I think there probably is in this feature race, so I think Gogo Danko could still start to plan on catching Augusto Fontes. He may even also have been able to put a little bit of fuel in the car and be able to push hard until the end of the race from here on in. Brandon Devine having a very quiet start to the race. I think he had to pit, and I think he may have come up with a little bit of damage also to fix. He's clearly been into the pit lane. We have very much a race of two halves at this stage. Those top 5 who have not pitted, and the rest of the field who have, for some reason or another, had to get into the pit lane. Much to do with that problem at the very formation lap of our race, and I'm sure that as things calm down here during our feature race, we will start to really unpack exactly what went down on that formation lap, because that was chaos. And then the lap 1 as well, we saw a lot of issues. Brandon Devine picking up the pace now as he closes in on the back of Soroskivsky in the black and grey. Number 113 there, Brandon Devine getting a much better run on the inside line, and then they're going to go into downhill braking into turn 10, which is the Dunlop loop, or the kind of Dunlop chicane, as it were, as they run through. And you can see why it's called the Dunlop chicane, even though Bridgestone are sponsors of the race and racetrack at different points. We also have a Dunlop area, so that's always interesting. But Brandon Devine coming out of the tight and twisty final sector here at the moment. There's the Panasonic corner. Richard Lucas has had a problem. I think he's even got a puncture potentially. That right rear of the car is hopping up and down as he cruises in towards the pit lane. So clearly, unfortunately, from 5th place, Richard Lucas has had a problem. There is a spin from Scott Edwards. Here is Kyra Krasenberg in the 117 over those horrible yellow bumps, and hopefully that was the limit of her problems so far. Here is Carvalho. Wow, also taking flight in the EcoSports number 19, and that was contact between Collard and I think that is then, oh, okay, interesting. So that was a sweep round the nose. Collard holding position for a moment, as if he was going to let his rival to jump forward, and then having second thoughts possibly. May have even been sideways in the pit lane. What is this? Let's try and unpack this. This is the early portion of the lap as drivers were pitting. Here is the chaos that was ensuing earlier on. That is Collard, who has been around a couple times now. As they, oh, that's a big impact then. That was the damage that was Collard and Krasenberg. Drivers just pushing a little bit too hard, and then of course Collard comes right across the nose of everybody. There you see Gogo Danko without a rear wing already before any of this took place. I think that happened during the formation lap. So that was Collard very early on in our race through lap 1, I believe, and then he comes together. That was a driver that he had issues with later on into the race, and then they collided as they were recovering as well. So down the inside, and well, interesting, Kishkin into the side of Collard. So they've come together on multiple occasions today at the beginnings of quite the rivalry starting between the two of them. This was a bit of a late braking maneuver then from I believe that's Carvalho. No, they wanted, isn't it? And I guess that things were just compressing a little bit there for everybody. And this is Vitor Falcon, who's gone into the pit lane, and he is currently waiting on services, and he'll be taking quite a long pause in the pit lane at the moment. But leading the field is another one of our Brazilian drivers here, Augusto Fontes, and he's leading by 7.7 seconds. The interesting people to compare him to are Brandon Devine, who is 49 seconds behind him at the moment, and Gogo Danko, who is 38.5 seconds behind him. Both of those drivers have pitted. Fontes has not. He may not have to if he's got a big enough gap. He may be able to start to short shift and protect the fuel load, and if he can stay out of trouble, then he'll be just trying to eke out the fuel for the rest of our feature race here. This is Charles Wimbley. The number 3 is in P2 and is 7.5 seconds away from Fontes. But Wimbley, I think, would be more than happy finishing on the podium here in the second race of the day. Fontes, Wimbley, Kishkin, your current top 3, with Danko closing in. Everybody except for our provisional podium sitters at the moment having made one pit stop. Vitor Falcon is in the has made his second stop already, and is now 2 laps down, unfortunately. But there is still plenty of racing yet to take place. Pavlo Kishkin in the number 11, representing Ukraine, is in 3rd position. Now he has had a slightly dramatic race to this point, but he's managed to avoid enough damage to necessitate a pit stop. And I don't quite know how he's done that, because we've seen at least 2 contacts, and I think the drivers that he's contacted with have ended up in the pit lane as well. Here is Gogo Danko, who was the fastest driver in qualifying, and the races are just not working out for him. Danko, 38.5 seconds away from the lead of the race, 15.9 seconds from the car most immediately in front of him there in P3. A very, very tricky section of the racetrack down through Dunlop. And the cars, these are downforce cars, so the grip builds with the speed, and when you get these very, very slow corners, especially with a bit of camber, the cars can get extremely squirrely, out of the slow corners as you try to put the power down, and there's just basically nothing pushing those wheels down into the ground anymore. Very little weight on the rear axle. All the fuel, all the weight is right in the center line of the car. Giovanni Carvalho, number 19, is currently 5th place. We have Brazil 1, 5 and 12 so far today, so all over the grid at this stage. But Carvalho racing for the EcoSport team, and he is the second of the drivers who have pitted, putting in a personal best time there, but it is still 0.3 of a second slower than Gogo Danko managed on that lap. Carvalho has in his mirrors Brandon Devine, whose gap to the lead now is 49.8 seconds and is unchanging to Augusto Fontes. So whether he has a little bit of extra fuel on the car now, Devine, it looks like the sprint race may be the only victory that he'll take out of today. But Devine has quite the job here. We will see, though, of course, people can make mistakes just the same. There are still some 26 minutes and a half to go of this feature race, so there's plenty of opportunity for drivers to trip over each other or lose focus and start to get tired, and they'll be feeling their tires and they're feeling their fuel load throughout the course of the race, of course, and making sure that they can reach the finish. Fontes, Wimbley, Kishkin, your top three. Here is Fontes, and he's circulating currently out of Daiichi corner, still virtually a sector of the racetrack away from potentially putting the first lap on. No, actually he has already lapped Lucas and Falcon. Lucas obviously was in the pits for quite a long time. Seems like Lucas did suffer a puncture of some sort or a suspension failure. We haven't quite seen yet what happened to Richard Lucas. He was running as high as 5th place earlier on. Unfortunately, though, down in 11th now, and he'll be trying to hoping to rely on the misfortune of other drivers during the to rescue this one. Looks like the 444, the 117 and the 21 may be quite close. Well, certainly it looks like the 444 has got some action behind of the number 21 car potentially. Here is Scott Edwards. In fact, it looks potentially like I can't quite track what's going on the track map there, because we've got Scott Edwards in the 444. Kyra Kraftenberg is in the 117, and on the track map she is showing as further up the road than Scott Edwards. So either he's an entire lap ahead of Kraftenberg, which is possible, but she is right behind another car, the 113. On track of Sorokivsky. So I think our tower might be out of date here. I think that Kraftenberg might actually be in 8th place, following Sorokivsky closely behind. If we have a look at that shortly, we will perhaps see that Kraftenberg is on the move forward, as Augusto Fontes puts in a purple lap out in the lead of the race, and just underlining his pace advantage at this point. Charles Wimbley sets a personal best time, but it is not as quick, of course, as Fontes here on lap 10. This is the 16th minute of the 40 has just ticked over as Kishkin goes by in the 1:43 for that lap, and Scott Edwards then having a good look down the inside of his cockpit and the inside tyre on the way into Dunlop corner. As we run then and continue the 113, then it looks like the 113 Sorokivsky. Kraftenberg has potentially unlapped herself from Sorokivsky, or has indeed got by. So we'll see. 45.2 from Sorokivsky that lap. Here is Kyra Kraftenberg. So she's ahead of Sorokivsky and Edwards on track, but she may well be an entire lap behind them. And is trying to recover right now, but she's going to have a long race in front of her if she's going to be able to make that happen. Where is the number 21 of Collard right now? He's heading down in towards the into Daiichi corner, not far behind the 444 of Scott Edwards. Here he is. He's had some contact with Kishkin, who's currently running 3rd position. Two touches with Kishkin today, so far in the feature race. But at the moment, Collard, the pace of the field in the final sector of the racetrack. So he's certainly managed to find a bit of speed there after stopping that one time. Lap 11 currently for Collard anyway. And Fontes' gap at the lead of this race. Into the pits, funnily enough, comes Pavlo Kishkin. Then I think looking at his fuel line and fuel gauge and thinking perhaps he doesn't quite have enough. I don't see anything wrong with the car. I thought that our leaders would be able to measure their pace and try and get home without a stop. But Kishkin is now in the pit lane, leaving just Fontes and Wimbley out in first and second positions then as the non-stopping drivers. Fontes gap to Gogo Danko still nearly 40 seconds, 39.4. That I was expecting Danko to be able to unlock a bit more pace here, but he's certainly got a purple final sector of the racetrack and a green first sector of his lap 11. So able to start really extracting some pace here. And we've got Carvalho in fourth, Divine in fifth, Divine winning the sprint race. But Divine is 50 plus seconds away from the outright lead of the race. Here is Krasenberg, still registering at the moment in P9 and closing in on Kishkin right now, who has a spin on the way through the hairpin. Unfortunately, Kishkin then, not for the first time today, we've seen somebody have an issue going through that corner, and he's really struggling to point the car in the right direction. Pavlo Kishkin, the number 11, certainly has pace, but is lacking a little bit in consistency today, and has not been able to run a very smooth one for the portion of this feature race so far. But Kishkin dropping then down to 7th place as Krasenberg was I think unlapping herself from his position rather than making an overtake at this stage. The number 6, Gogo Danko, is just crossing the line. He goes on 43.2 that lap. That's a quick lap from him. Not the quickest or even his quickest, but it's still good for this stage of the race. Here is our race leader, Augusto Fontes, just making sure he's still A-OK. And certainly seems like he's locked in to some great performance. Really going through a really good focus period of this race for him. And his gap to Danko, which is probably his biggest threat, is still just shy of 40 seconds. I wonder if Fontes is just maintaining that gap here and trying to stroke the car gently home without the pit stop. But we've only gone through 1/2 distance so far, so there's still plenty of racing left to play. Who is this coming into the pit lane? It's Pavlo Kishkin. Not for the first time, I believe. Kishkin now in for his second stop. So I'm unsure whether he would need repairs or whether he feels like some changes needed on the car. In comes Augusto Fontes though at that halfway period of the race. So that just leaves Charles Wimbley. No, it doesn't, because Wimbley also into the pit lane on this lap. There he is behind, as you can see, out of the United States, one of our 2 USA drivers coming into the pit lane. And we'll see what kind of lap time the Danko Carvalho Divine triplicate there are able to pick back up from the former leaders. We will see. Well, Wimbley on a shorter pit stop just than Fontes, but Fontes has such a gap in hand here as Gogo Danko comes down the start-finish line, start-finish straight. That looked like Fontes has emerged in front, but Danko, crucially for him, has been able to gain a position on Wimbley there with the very long undercut on Wimbley, and he gets to within 1.2 seconds of Fontes. So plenty of fuel on both cars now for the finish, I would imagine. Perhaps new tyres as well. Fontes will take a few corners to get those tyres up to temperature and the operating range, but he's certainly got his mirrors busy in a way that he hasn't had for some time. So Danko would have been trusting the process for several laps there, not panicking, and hoping, at least for our sake, that we will get a good battle at the head of this field on the run-in to the flag. Fontes leading now by just 0.8 of a second from Gogo Danko. Wimbley a further 6.8 seconds further back here. Giovanni Carvalho is in 4th place with Brandon Devine in 5th. Roma Sorokivski is 6th place. There is Danko just taking a little taste of those yellow curves. I think the drivers one taste is enough, and they don't want to go back for seconds. Carvalho in 4th, Devine in 5th. Devine is now just 13 seconds away from the lead of the race, and only 2.2 from Carvalho. We're on board with the Racing Bulls livery of Gergo Danko, racing out of Hungary. He has a purple middle sector of the race here at the moment, and he's running incredibly well, and should be getting a small tow from the car in front there. You can see the time coming down as they're both absolutely at VMAX. Down into Daiichi corner then we go. The turn is so long, it's really easy to get the car unsettled mid-corner through Daiichi, but both drivers making their way through very comfortably. Fontes with a very large white number 1 on the car shows a certain degree of self-belief, so believing that he deserves the number 1 before perhaps being awarded it, but it's working for him at the moment. He's only half a second ahead of Gergo Danko. It really does seem like Fontes struggling to get up to speed after his pit stop, and Danko is very much in a rhythm here, closing in on a potential overtake with the deep into the second half of the race. In fact, we'll be into the final quarter before you know it. Well, Gergo Danko on a redemption arc today from earlier contact between these two very drivers. He'll be a little bit more wary of Augusto Fontes than perhaps he was at the start of today, and that is Danko. Those tyres are really in a good place for him. He's just crossing behind the rear wing of the yellow, green and blue McLaren livery, which will upset the balance of his car somewhat. There is very simple aerodynamics on the F4 cars. This is the slipstream taking effect. You can see it's getting closer and closer and closer, and I'm sure Danko will not want to be on the outside on the exit of the Daiichi corner, but look to the right. We will try and get the braking point exactly perfect here on the way in. Fontes going much longer on the brakes. Danko should be able to get a bit of a switchback working here, but the performance difference just isn't quite there for him. As they run through the very sector of the racetrack, they had a problem in the sprint race. Danko should once again goes outside inside, and cannot find a route through as Fontes being pretty predictable this time and staying to the inside of the following corners into the hairpin of turn 6. Danko looking for a weakness, looking for just a moment where Fontes puts a tyre off the racing line too much and stretches the limit of his car. He's defending hard on the way into Dunlop, forces Danko to the outside. A big lockup though, that could be crucial, as Danko will go to the outside here, then the inside once again on this switchback. Danko through and into the lead of the race, and he'll be hoping that his underlying pace advantage can get him ahead, but he's not had the best exit there. As another good section, great racing between the two of them as Fontes reclaims the lead of the race, and Danko electing for a better exit out of Panasonic, and he's going to be absolutely underneath the McLaren in front of him as Fontes then out of Brazil, facing our Hungarian racer Gergo Danko, who hasn't been able to get quite the amount of slipstream perhaps that he's had before, but he should get ahead here. He's managed to make the overtake, but they are side by side down this main straight, and this is how things were the previous lap, and Fontes was able to hold on and hold firm. Danko will have a little bit more knowledge in the bank here, but once again Fontes holding firm very nicely. What a great race we're having between the two leaders. Fontes into turn 3, taking that inside line, and Danko yielding once again. Fontes doing a really, really good job. Personal best time from Roman Sorokivski there. That's a timely moment for him to get some best pace of his race so far into the 27th minute of running, as we continue to watch for a driver to make a mistake. It was into Dunlop that Fontes locked up last time. He's moved to the inside, he's put Danko on the outside again, and Danko turned in, but Fontes was defending. Certainly didn't make any rash moves there. So that's lost a little bit of time, unfortunately, for Danko. Wembley is catching them both, because naturally when they're battling, it is taking some performance out of their outright pace. But Danko, very much the best of the rest in the season so far. Not quite sure, there was no contact there, but Danko just thinking twice about his turn in. I think he was just too late on the brakes, and the front axle just complaining as he tried to put too much steering angle in for the current speed, and he's almost losing the slipstream here on the car in front. This is Brandon Devine, the 57. He's currently in 5th place, nice and close behind Giovanni Carvalho. Let's see if he can make an overtake work. He's got a good final sector that will be helped by the slipstream that we see in action right now, but looks like it's going to be too little too late down into Daiichi corner this lap anyway. Plenty of time for Devine to get himself into P4. He is some 10 seconds away from the outright lead of the race, so that has closed in very nicely for Brandon Devine. Hoping for a podium here if possible, but he'll need to make quick work of Giovanni Carvalho if he possibly can. Stay on the inside line on the way through these long looping corners when you're following hard behind another driver. As soon as you cross over the other side, what a great drop down to the inside through the hairpin that was from Devine, although possibly more of a mistake really from Carvalho. Quite sure how we get there, but I think Carvalho with a lockup possibly. Oh, a big slide actually there on the way in, and Devine almost following him into the incident. He just had enough grip to take that inside line. So Devine back into a great place then as he runs through and into that final sector. Devine in 4th place, and I think a 1st in the sprint and a 4th or better in the feature will be a very happy Brandon Devine. There in the 57. You can see the leaders on the main straightaway here, the 5 cars at the front of the field, all on the same straight. And Fontes starting to stretch away slightly. That's 1.4 seconds now. You fear perhaps that Danko's opportunity has gone when he had a small tyre temperature or pressure advantage over Fontes after his pit stop. Fontes finding a bit of rhythm on his 18th lap, on his 17th lap I should say. He's now on lap number 18, and it is we're into the final quarter of our race here in the great Fuji International Speedway. Of course, reminder, this is the Ukraine Racing League F4 Championship, the season finale. Sure that you can get on involved in other ways or post-season for a new season of racing. I'm sure is being planned already, but keep in touch with SimGrid and the Discord if you want to race with us next season. Oh, big slide from Danko there as he just held on from going into the grass on the exit of turn 10. Who is that behind Danko? Well, that looks like Wembley is catching as well, and you can see Danko really sliding, getting very oversteery, the rear axle wanting to come round on him. It's almost like there's a mechanical issue with the car, but I think he's being too aggressive with the front turn-in mid-corner possibly, and the rear of the car seems to be stepping away from him from time to time. But we've got 3 drivers exiting in the single sector here. There is Devine catching as well. This is Charles Wembley, number 3 in 3rd place. Behind these 5 we've got Carvalho, behind these 4 we've got Carvalho in 5th, Sorakivsky in 6th, Scott Edwards in 7th, and Krasenberg in 8th place. Collard is 9th, Kishkin is 10th, Lucas is in 11th, and Vitor Falcon is at the back of the grid. But I think both Lucas and Falcon have retired in the pit lane. Oh, that is a lot of grass being kicked up by Danko on the way into turn 3. Hopefully he made it out safely enough, but was definitely stretching the limit there on the way through. Having a look then at Augusto Fontes, currently leading by 2.4 seconds, so continuing to extend that lead, which is awesome. And he is he's doing a fantastic job at this stage. 2.3 seconds in the lead of our feature race. It was looking quite hairy for a few laps there with Danko, but you can't fault Augusto Fontes' driving in this feature race so far, and in the wheel-to-wheel battles with Danko. It was very, very robust and clear defence, and he held on long enough while his tyres were struggling. Didn't overcommit, and that is a big danger point for a lot of our drivers when they defend too hard and end up compromising their own tyre or car performance as a result. But he just kept the balance really, really nicely. Lap 19 is about to finish here in our 33rd minute of the final race of the season. Danko, 2.3 seconds, that hasn't changed. I wonder, again, if Fontes is managing the gap now. Quite happy with a gap of 2+ seconds. As we see down the start-finish straight, you can see all the drivers in the top 5 or 6 on the same lead lap, of course. We've got Carvalho, Sorokivski right there. I think Krasenberg and Collard might be fairly close together, within a second or so of each other for 8th and 9th positions. But I don't think Krasenberg really has the ability to challenge for other portions, for other positions today. Here is Collard in the 21. He is 1 minute and 6. Well, it says 1 minute and 6 behind the behind the leader, with Krasenberg 1 minute and 4. But again, I can't see Krasenberg that far ahead. Here she is, the 1:17. I'm just wondering whether Krasenberg's her transponder is not functioning properly today, because I can't quite track where she is in respect of the overall standings and the track map. It just doesn't seem to add up to me. It's reading as on track. She's behind the 19, which is 5th place. That will put her potentially 6th. We'll see if it all balances out at the end of the race, but clearly she is further than 1 second or 2 seconds away from Collard, as it was saying earlier on. Here is then back to our leader, just keeping in touch with what's happening with him. 5 minutes 10 seconds to go before the checkered flag will fall, and Augusto Fontes leads by 1.8 seconds. So Danko has taken about half a second out of Fontes that time. Has he just been waiting for another chance here, or has he just found something in his driving? That was a personal best from Gergo Danko, but it was only about 3/10 of a second ahead, faster that time round. He's going to have to find a bit more pace, and his tyres are much older than Fontes, who pretty neatly split the race into 2 halves, pitting around that 20th minute. But good news for Gergo Danko is he has stretched his gap out to Charles Wembley once again, back out to 4 seconds clear. So this is looking good. Oh, Danko wide again, just pushing very hard. That will cost him a little time, although it's possible that actually it's a slightly quicker line over onto the asphalt there on the exit. 1.6. It is a slightly quicker way to go through, but he might pick up a strike there on the track limits that might cause problems later on into the race. The number 21 is a little bit further up the road here, so may feature in the battle for the outright win before the end of the race. Number 21, that is Vyacheslav Collard, who is 1 minute 14 back and almost a lap down, of course, at this stage. So we have, apparently the interval between 1:17 and 21 is actually 1 minute and 7 seconds. Understood. Right. Okay. So there is a massive gap there between Krasenberg and Collard. But it's still struggling to understand the track map situation. But I think that is all a-okay. She did have a lot of damage to fix earlier on. It's 1.8 seconds, the gap now, with just 3 minutes to go in our race. So that will be, I think that will make it 2 complete laps to run. We will see as we get there. Hi to Shine Quen as well. Nice to hear from you in the live chat. Hope you can let us know who you're here to cheer on. At the moment, though, Fontes putting in a fabulous debut here in the feature race. Danko and Fontes have provided plenty of entertainment. Perhaps not as much as our formation lap at the start of our proceedings, but we'll try and unpack all of that later on for you. But Fontes ahead of Danko, 1.3 seconds. That was a touch of possible a lock-up there. Danko is leaving it late in the race to make a challenge, but the challenge is starting to build. So let's see if he can make this happen. And Danko clearly pushing very hard, takes flight in the Racing Bulls. Red Bull does give you wings, but that is taking the mickey. And again, he kind of gets the rear end of the car slightly lively going through these slower corners. Doesn't seem to be losing a great deal of time. I don't know how he's doing it. Weaving some kind of amazing spell at the moment. Gergo Danko is now 1.5 seconds, so he's putting the pressure on. As into the pits comes Collard. So we're right on the cusp of it being the white flag lap. I believe it is the white flag lap now. So I think that we will just have this one more racing lap as we run down. It was very close with the start-finish line there, and 1 minute 42, 43 laps. But I think that this is it. So Danko will be praying for an extra lap. But I think that this will be it. And Danko has kind of scared himself a little bit there. He's taking that wide line. He quite likes going over the curb, running through the Coca-Cola turn 3 and through the 100R at the moment as we head then towards the hairpin. Fontes hoping here that he can just hold on long enough. Remember, he has the younger tyres for the finish of this race, which might be explaining some of Danko's wayward moments. Right now, he stopped very early for a rear wing repair. Down into Dunlop we go, and all the pressure here on Fontes. That was one of the last big braking zones that can unstick a driver as we run out of Dunlop and into the right-hander of turn 13. It looks like, well, certainly Danko is pushing hard. We're down to the last 18, 17 seconds of racing action before the checkered flag falls. Panasonic corner looms. The drivers will be looking at Mount Fuji as they go into that final corner. As they come out, it's a forgotten memory. Here comes Augusto Fontes. We have 2 seconds on the clock. It will be the checkered flag coming for Augusto Fontes, but he's celebrating very early. Don't lose the car. There's certainly almost losing his win there as he crosses the line to take the feature race. Augusto Fontes, while Danko gets the purple final lap. Incredible. Down to half a second. Fontes almost binning it at the very end, and Wembley in the background taking P3, just 5 seconds away from the outright winner. What a great podium that was. Fontes, Danko, Wembley, and Brandon Devine will complete his racing action with a win and a 4th place. Congratulations to him as well today. Carvalho home in 5th, Sorakivsky in 6th, with Scott Edwards home in 7th place. I imagine Sorakivsky hasn't quite crossed the line yet, so I'm a little bit premature. Kara Krasenberg is a lap down. She has taken 8th place with Collard in 9th, despite that very late pit stop. I think Collard might have run out of fuel again. I don't know why else you would stop on the penultimate lap, other than for that reason. The 113 of Roma Sorakivsky home in P6, the lead Ukrainian driver, and Scott Edwards. It's been a dramatic day for Scott Edwards, but the 444 comes home in P7, and I think he'll be pretty happy with that. Kishkin is 10th, Lucas and Victor Falcon, all 3 of those drivers will not take the flag, waiting in the pit lane, but your podium, Fontes, Danko, and Wembley. I'd love to see that run for the flag there from Fontes once again, because he really was celebrating very early, and there was a moment where the rear axle was not following the front with quite the same amount of there you can see as he turns to the left. Danko is right there with him. You could argue that he's breaking the toe there, but look at this drift, 4-wheel drift before he's even finished the race. I guess you can pick up some style points for that one. It was Pavlo Kishkin who had joined there with who's using the YouTube handle Shinequen, but just having retired. So let us know, Kishkin, what how your race went in the live chat while we try and organise some drivers to talk to through this this race. It might get a little bit spicy with Danko and Fontes from their sprint race, but I would imagine that after an entire 40-minute feature race with some great battling, I would have thought that things would be a little bit more okay between them. But in the end, it finished very, very close between the two of them. That will really help Gogo Danko to solidify third place in the championship. I do believe Brandon Devine may well be able to secure fourth in the championship. We'll try and give you the information on social media post race. After all, everything has finished. Kara Krastenberg may end up sixth in the championship where she started this race, and we will see if Scott Edwards was able to pick up very many additional points. I'm just looking to see if anyone is likely to move forward. I would have thought Richard Lucas would have got himself up into the top 10 at least through this race. Charles Wimbley will climb hugely. He was 20th place with 21 points going into today's race, and just behind Giovanni Carvalho. Those drivers will pick up a lot of points relative to the drivers who are in front of them in the championship and who have not taken part in today's race with us. So here we get a nice slow-mo replay of Augusto Fontes. While the drivers are just preparing to possibly come and talk to us. It's not mandatory. They may elect not to, but I think they're waiting in the wings here. The first driver who has made it to the interview room though is Gergo Danko. Gergo, congratulations on that second position and the fastest lap through that final part of the race. How was it out there?
Yeah, it was good. So I had a great fight with Augusto. Yeah, we both made some mistakes, and yeah, he came out on top. So congratulations to him.
Yeah, it was great watch for a couple of laps there. You seem to have, I'm assuming, maybe tire temperature advantage at that point while he was just bringing his tires up after the pit stop. But yeah, thank you for giving us such a great show through the feature race. In the start of the broadcast today in the sprint race, things didn't quite go your way. Can you talk us through that instant out of turn one?
Yeah, he squeezed me on the second straight, and I think he thought he's ahead,
Yeah.
but he was just not. Yeah, we crashed. Luckily, I was on the better side.
Absolutely,
But
yeah.
yeah,
You're lucky to get away with that one. But also the other thing is, it looked like you maybe lost your rear wing during the formation lap, or at least through lap one of the feature race. So what happened from your perspective earlier on? We didn't catch all of it, but looked like you've had an incredible comeback throughout the course of that feature race.
yeah, there was a contact or someone spun or something on the formation lap, and the car stopped ahead of me. I
Yeah.
couldn't avoid it, and the car behind me as well. So yeah, the rear wing gone. So yeah, I was really cautious on the first lap to make it to the pit, and yeah, I I thought I will fight for the podium, but I don't expect it to fight for the first place. So yeah,
Yeah,
that was good.
tremendous comeback from that adversity. So well done for keeping your head up and keeping pushing. It was a really good race to watch, and yeah, really impressive run from you. Hopefully that will mean a secure third place in the championship as well. Talk us through how do you reflect on this F4 championship, these 6 races that you've participated in so far. What are your highlights?
Mm, ooh, maybe the Hungarian race was the one I had the pace to fight for the win, which yeah didn't quite happen, but yeah, that was the race where I felt like I had the most pace.
So your home race was a
Yeah.
highlight for you. Fantastic. Well, congratulations. A really, really good show and a terrific drive today. So congratulations, Gogo Danko. Fastest lap, pole position, and a second place in the feature race.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. We will see. Hopefully, we will get the second of our podium drivers in momentarily for you. If you've got questions and you're watching in the live chat, keep them clean and positive, and I'll try my best to ask them of the drivers that come on in. We'll see if we can get anybody else. We did have a victory for Brandon Devine in the sprint race. It might be interesting to check in with him for his feature race issues as well. In fact, speak of Brandon Devine, and he appears. Brandon, it was a bit of a tale of two very different races for you today.
Well, that's just my luck, my friends. I don't know what to say. I'll take you back. We'll start from the
Yeah.
top. Sprint race. I was chilling in third. I was just minding my own business, and I thought, all right, if I stay in this position, the guy in P4 is too far back, the guy in P2 is too far ahead. I'll just stay here. And then all of a sudden, I see the 1 and the 6 just start going to the fence, and I'm thinking, oh my god, what just happened? And next thing you know, I'm in the lead, and I'm thinking at the time, all right, how long can I hold off the 11? And ended up just taking it to the end. He put up a really, really good fight, though. I got to give it to him on that. We were able to get the sprint race win, so that definitely makes up for what happened at Charlotte Motor Speedway a few weeks ago, because everybody around me knows I really wanted to win that event, and I was on track to do it, but unfortunately it doesn't go that way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But feature race, we were in a rolling start, I was kind of expecting it. We're going around a blind corner. All of a sudden, we're slamming on the brakes. Now, look, I do a lot of NASCAR. I do a lot of IndyCar, so I'm expecting a lot of stupid shit on the roll. Oh, I probably shouldn't have said that on the broadcast, but I was expecting a lot of shenanigans to take place on the rolling start, but I guess I just wasn't expecting the fact that we were stopped out of that corner. So I got some damage. I had to do one lap so I didn't get penalized, and then I immediately dove into the pits, and I just wanted to see if I could get back any amount of positions I could. We ended up getting P4. Originally, Charles was telling me that he was debating letting me around, but I told him not to because he would have just caused a DRS train. But shout out to Nova Motors, shout out to my sponsor, Kart with Friends, shout out RPM Raceway. We just won a championship there 2 weeks back. Really excited.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess I got a lot to say.
It's fantastic. No, it was a very very impressive sprint race, and yeah, obviously you managed to come back really well through the feature. So we heard about all of that. Any other incidents throughout the feature race that we didn't necessarily catch, but that we haven't caught? But yeah, I mean, it sounds like you're enjoying parts of racing in these F4 cars, but maybe maybe
It's the mood swing, man. It's the mood swing. I would say my biggest culprit today, right? Absolutely has to be my iPhone because I set an alarm. Now it is currently 11:30 a.m. over here, on the East Coast of the United States. So I usually like to get here at what's 8 a.m. my time, but for whatever reason my alarm didn't go off, and I saw I had 1 hour to spare, so I fired up the simulator and all that. Is actually my first race on my new direct drive base, so that's a lot of fun. It was definitely
I'm
an
in a
interesting
similar
one.
boat. I've just upgraded myself, so I definitely feel your experience there.
Oh yeah,
It's so different. I
look.
was I was drenched in sweat from my race yesterday because I've just never worked out like that for quite so long. So
Oh yeah.
yeah,
And
it's a
although
lot.
I had to wake up at 8 a.m. every morning to do these races, absolutely it was worth it from the highs
Yeah,
to the lows. This was a pretty fun season, and I would like to come back for the next one.
that'd be awesome. Yeah, so a very impressive run out there to date, and hopefully you'll be able to get slightly less ups and downs for next season as well, and we'll see you up at the sharp end.
You'll definitely see me in the Indy Next Esports Series. I'm going to be eligible for that next year, so hopefully we qualify.
Fabulous. Good luck with that, and
Yeah,
thanks for
thanks, man.
talking to us today. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Hey, that's fantastic to hear from two of our top drivers today. I think we don't have another podium member, but who do we have coming in at the moment? Unfortunately, their name is different to their their gamer tag. So let me know, Sorok Skull, who you are.
I'm Roma Sorokivsky, 113.
Hello, Roma. Hello, how are you?
Hi. I'm good. Just happy with the race and
Yeah.
my results. I think that's just some of craziest race so far for me, because the start of the second race, I just don't expect to someone bump me and damage my front wing.
Was that right at the start? Is that at the formation lap issues
Yeah,
that we had for lots of people? Yeah.
Yeah, that was on a formation lap, and the first one who started just bumped me on maybe turn 1, if I correctly remember.
It was certainly a very tough and unexpected start to the feature race. Any good battles you've had with people today? Did you enjoy any good overtakes or wheel to wheel action?
Yeah, most recently my overtake was on a first race, because I just try my best to perform a best placement. I started around 10 and somehow um, got on 6th or 5th place, I think. But after that, my nervous system just goes crazy, and I'm go down to 9th place, as I remember.
Right. Oh
Yeah,
well, so yeah, a lot of changing fortunes today. What do you like best about this track? Where do you feel the rhythm most here at Fuji?
well, I think it's just the moment where you go up and go to last corner, because it's mostly one of the fastest, I think, corners on a Fuji for me, and it's just easier to understand them than
Right.
others.
What chance do you think, Roma, of next season seeing you here with a few more colours on your car, perhaps?
Yeah, I try to make a more unique livery for next season, because this
Excellent.
was just an fast on hand to make just for this
Yeah.
season.
That's good. That's good. Sometimes it makes it much more interesting for a commentator to be able to spot drivers more easily. But yeah, congratulations though. Obviously, yeah, a really hard fought race, and it was great to talk to you as well. So well done, and hopefully we'll see you next season.
Yeah, thank you very much. Nice to participate in this season.
Fantastic. Good stuff. Great to hear from Roma there. We'll just wait to see. I've got Augusto Henrique, who I'm assuming is ready to talk to us. Augusto, talk us through your races today.
Hey guys, yeah, it was a good race. Fortunately, on a sprint, I misjudged my mirrors and I closed the door on Danko. I'm really sorry for him. But yeah, other than that, I was just like try to getting some pace for the future, and it was really good. Unfortunately, I think Danko had some problem before the start, and
Yeah.
I think it was between us today, talking about the pace. But I had like a moment that I was a little bit tense, which was the pit stops, because I have no strategy. So I just filled up my tank, and I think I missed a lot of time there. So once I get out of pits, Danko was behind me, and with a lot of action. But I, elbows out, I try to defend, try to keep it. At that point, I had nothing else to do, and he made a mistake on our fight, and after that, I was just like, trying to make like clear laps and try to open a gap, and well, we made it. So
You did make it. You
happy.
had some fantastic pace. Is this a bit of a favorite track of yours?
He's one of them, but today I was a little bit struggling. I don't know if I was I mean, I'm a couple weeks without to sit on sim, so I don't know if it was me, it was the
Yeah.
track temperature. I think from like halfway forward, I think the track was faster, so maybe it was the temperature in the beginning, but I wasn't in my best pace on a quali and on a sprint. But yeah, was good enough for today, and yeah, really happy, and thank you guys for having me here today.
Yeah, it was fantastic. I mean, obviously, the sprint race didn't go to plan. I don't know if you caught what was going on in your mirrors during the formation lap, but there was a big pile up in the formation lap of the
Yeah.
of the feature race. So obviously that helped you a little bit, but yeah, talk us just to explain a bit more about that pit stop issue, because you stopped, I guess, when you planned to stop, but were you just stationary for too long? Is that the problem, or you just taking too
Ye-
much fuel?
Yeah, because I didn't plan my strategy, so
Okay.
I was like, I will just put like more than think I need here of fuel.
Yeah.
Just to making sure, because I had like I think 9 seconds of gap for the second one. So, and I didn't know that Denko was still on a race. So like I was like, I'll play safe here because I'm kind of in a good pace. So even that something happens, I think I can keep it. But yeah, I pretty much put like a double of what I need. So
Wow.
like I spent a lot of time, and I was like, I'll put my new tires as well. I didn't think I need it, but I guess put to just try to keep safe, and it almost cost my race. But well, so at least some emotion, right? Was too easy before the pit, so like it was fun. It was fun.
Excellent. Well, congratulations, a fabulous feature race victory, and we'll hope to see you again here at the Ukrainian Racing League next season. Wonderful to talk to you. Congratulations on the win.
Definitely. Thank you guys. And I'll definitely be here for the next season since the first race, so we can really fight for the championship at its time. Thank you
Brilliant,
guys.
brilliant to hear. Well, great. It's great to have so many positive drivers to talk to today. I hope everybody has loved hearing from them. And I think that's probably where we'll probably end our broadcast today. But I really appreciate everybody for your support. Do press all the buttons under the video and share with friends and be ready to help us with our building of the Ukrainian Racing League to bigger and better and more drivers and all sorts of great things. So make sure you follow us on socials for to stay in touch with everything that's going on. My name is Webbo, by the way. You can find me at Webbo Red 5 online. But from us here, big thank you to the producers as well for all their hard work in the background. A fantastic broadcast today. But from me, Webbo, from us here at the Ukrainian Racing League, thank you so much for watching. We will catch you on the next race day.